Alright, so we're back, round two. I had Napa bring me up some connectors this morning. So this is what I ended up getting is these here. They're a pipe thread, 1/4 inch 18 pipe thread. And then they've got our regular, quick connects for our lines. This should be what we need. Yeah, they feel like they're gonna thread in, so I'll get a wrench and get these things put in. See if it works. So I called this company yesterday before I left, this ETE transmission, whatever it is. Their phone number was on the paperwork. And, talked to a guy, told him my dilemma, gave him the serial numbers off both transmissions, and he suggested that I buy new transmission lines. That's what he said. And I told him that my transmission lines were new and they were not the problem, but it was the quick connects that go into the training. And that was pretty much the end of the conversation. He didn't know, he's not sure what I'm talking about. I explained it as simply as possible, is that, the transmission lines go into the transmission with a quick connect. Jiffy type connector. I don't know what else to call it. Quick disconnect. That's the best that I can explain it with my limited vocabulary. And I told him the difference between the two transmissions, and it was pretty much a pointless conversation. So he said he was going to pass it along to the next available technician, and they would call me promptly. I said, spectacular. We're tying up a bay. Take your time. I'm pretty sure these here aren't going to work. I mean, they're pipe thread, but they screw all the way in until they bottom out. I mean, it's got to have some kind of O-ring seal or something, I would think. I don't know. Best I can do. There was only a couple options when I looked up this year of vehicle. There was these ones. There was ones for a heavy-duty transmission when it took like a 3/8 pipe thread. And then there's those flanged O-ring ones like what we have, and we know they're not right. These are obviously the right thread, so we'll see. We'll clean it off. I mean, it's not the end of the world to get it up in there, but we got to get the right ones. It's going to be the problem. Now we've got the rubber in there for our dipstick. Let's see. Well, I took and before I went home last night, I cleaned out our vent, blew that out with a brake cleaner. Good stuff. And made sure that was all free and open again. And got a little bit of transmission fluid in it. So we'll get this put on. We'll get this thing swapped over on the jack. I got this thing out of here. I got enough cars to work on today. I cannot have this tying up my bay all day, waiting for them to call back, so, which they probably won't. Usually calls like that and tech support things, they just get blown off anyways. At least in my experience. Swap these brackets over on junk when we're sending back. Now we're ready to put this one in. Well, the guy actually did call back from the transmission place, believe it or not. And he said there's only a choice of two different connectors that go in these transmissions. He says little ones and big ones, or small ones and large ones, or something along those lines. And I told him that I had Napa send up two different sets today, essentially small ones and large ones. The small ones fit, he said that's fine. It should be good to go. Thing is, when I look these up by application, these fittings here only fit up to an 04. So I don't know if that last case they sent us was out of a newer vehicle or what exactly the story was. Don't forget to put your transmission dipstick tube back up in there. I fed that up through there. And never seize up your dowel pins if you haven't done that. Of course, we already did all that last time. Make sure there's not a lot of crud on your dowel pins. around your bell housing either. You don't want to put that up there. Make sure your torque converter is all the way in. That's also very important. And just like I mentioned in the Pontiac Drive video and in the other Chevy truck video, you never want to force your bell housing bolts. You never want to force your transmission to the bell housing. You want to stick it up, line it up on the dowels, make sure it mates, which we have. It's put together perfectly just like that. Then you can stick a couple bolts in it, but never ever draw it together with your bolts. You can blow the front pump right out of the transmission if you do that. These transmissions are quite easy to install. Not a lot of fidgeting in and around, but I'll show you what I'm talking about. So when you put your transmission in, you got to make darn sure that that gap there is completely closed, and never draw that gap closed with the bolts. And check on both sides. Well, we'll have to grab our light here. This side might be opened up just slightly because we have to push in on it a little bit, but you can see where, like by those purple lines, you want to make sure that that gap between the engine and transmission is tight as possible, and then put your bolts in. I'll take our two roller bolts that we just stuck in there. I'll just lightly snug those up, and then we'll throw one up in the top, and we should be good to go. Do that one. Then before we get carried away, we'll make sure our starter, we can get that back in there. And then the upper bell housing, I remember uses all these ones with the studs on it, so I'll throw one up top. And now we got one up top that should hold our transmission. Move that jack out of the way. Then, like I say, we'll go over and make sure that our dipstick can fit back in there. Starter, make sure nothing got pinched, and then we'll be good. It's still loosen out of the way. That kind of slid down when we pulled the tranny back. Dipstick tube, that can still line up. Tranny lines are going to be good. Of course, I won't click those in until we get our starter in. They're kind of hitting on the starter, so it looks like everything's going to be good. Okay, that dipstick tube will come out with the tranny lines off, apparently. Well, anyhow, it's in. Let me grab a ratchet. That way we can tighten up the bell housing bolts by hand. I know they're tight. We'll go ahead and install a couple on this side first, because we're right here. Oops. There's that one. Stick our dipstick tube out of the way. Reach up there with another one. Double check these with a ratchet. Not something you want coming loose, falling out on the road. We'll check that one. And then I'll do the very top one, and then we'll take and put our dipstick back in while we're right here, and put our vent tube back on the upper one. Over right here. Whoa, heads up! Okay, dipstick tube's wiggled in. Throw one of the nuts on that. Tighten that up with our 13 mil. And then I gotta reach way up top and get our little vent hose hooked back up top on that bracket. Oh, look at that, first try. Sweet. This ain't amateur hour. 13 swivel socket, and the one that goes up top takes the nut with the little spinning washer. How's that? What to call it? Takes the oddball one. At least that's where it came from anyways. I can throw that on. There's that one. We'll get one on our dipstick. There's that one. We got 2 more bell housing bolts, and then we got the bracket for the fuel lines and whatnot. And then we're almost done. We'll take and we actually got 3 more bell housing bolts, don't we? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, sorry. Misquote. Misquote. Check that. Cut that part out. Where are you? There's that one. Like I say, these are about the simplest transmission anyone could ever do. That one we're going to start by hand because it's losing my socket. Alright, then we got one more. I have no idea if you guys can see a thing. I can't see nothing. We got one more up top. This is the one, whoa. This is the one that's going to go under the fuel line bracket there. You guys can see that. There's that. So now we're going to swap her out for a ratchet. Get her torqued to factory specs. It's the silent type torque wrench, in case you guys aren't familiar with this model. It's actually a pretty sweet ratchet. I think I've showed this ratchet once. And that guy left it for me. It's this little guy. I don't know, how long is that? I think it's like, I don't know, 28 inches or something. It's jumbo. And I don't like Mac ratchets because they break too easy. But he told me to try it, didn't charge me. And said if I don't break it, I gotta buy it. So I'll probably have to buy it this week. See if I can get this fuel line bracket back on. Look at that. We got one long-way soldier over here. Oh, come on, baby. For the nut. Oh, dang. Dropped it. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll do it the old-fashioned way. Let's stick it in the socket and see if I can't just give it the... Here we go. 1-2 bucker out from way back here. There she goes, hitting the floor. It'll be a self-made auto video unless it did, right? Let me just stuff a piece of paper in this socket. There we go. She'll stay in there now. Get her lined up. It feels like it started. There it is. Whoa, there you almost go. Might as well just take some of our wiring. There ain't much to this one. Not our O2 sensor. What we got? Got something here, don't we? What we got? Is that for this? No, that's O2 sensors. Oh yeah. We have something here. There we go. There's some wiring that we need. There's speed sensor. Got transmission. Got this transmission over here. There's a Prindle switch, rather. That's in. Put the lock back in it so it doesn't fall out. And what else we got? We got our little vent tube here. Get that stuck back in there. These are O2 sensors. Got a shift cable. You know, again, if you're worried about this coming undone, you know, thread a zip tie back up through. Can you even see what I'm doing? You can't. Yeah, on the, like I said, on the shift cable, where the little ears open up, you can thread a zip tie through it. Maybe I'll just show you that just for the sake of demonstration in case you don't have a clue what I'm talking about. Right in my face. So the next thing we got to do is, before we put the cross member back in to hold the transmission up, we got to put the exhaust in, but before we put the exhaust in, we'll just take and we'll get our torque converter bolts in. I think we can get the starter in this position. Engine's tipped down quite a bit. If we get that taken care of, then we'll just jack it up, we'll throw our exhaust on and, you know, button this thing up and see if this one works. So make sure when you're putting in your torque converter bolts that you put a little bit of Loctite. Oh man, I got bad lighting, don't I? Put a little Loctite on the bolts. I'm not gonna record putting these in. You seen me take them out. Not much to it, but yeah, you just get them all started. Don't tighten them up until you get them all in. All right, now, the torque converter's tight. I just took and slid the starter back in here. Popped in nice and easy, especially with the training lines loose. I think that's the key, maybe loosen training lines first. Seems to be a tad more helpful in regards to the starter, potentially the dipstick. So get that little plastic piece on. We've got our, I'm going to use a chrome socket to get these starter bolts out. So we'll take and get our starter started back in there. If we can. There's one. There's two. Go ahead and torque those down. Don't forget to plug in your crank sensor and your oil level sensor. All right, I think we can hook our training lines up now. Well, maybe. Let's see. Might have to, there's one. Might have to jack the transmission up to get the right level here. Let's see. Of course, I'm in kind of an awkward position too. Oh, come on. Let's see. There we go. All right, fantastic. Those babies are in. Sometimes it's hard to work around the camera, I'll tell you that. All right, jack it up to the exhaust in, boom, we're out of here. Or we had to have our transmission jack kind of shoved ahead a little bit, so keep that in mind. I guess we gotta put our, we should have another bolt left here. We do, we got our little wood screw looking unit that goes in the side of the transmission that holds our fuel lines on. Took the 8mm socket, right? I'll take and do that real quick before we forget. There's that. And don't forget the plastic filler piece that goes on the opposite side of the starter over there. A little 10mm wrench, put that back on. Let me grab the exhaust. Okay. Let's see. Whoa, hang on there, little guy. Let's see, how do we do this? Maybe some kind of fancy trick move that we did. Other than something I don't remember. Something. How'd she go there? It was yesterday, it was less than 24 hours ago, I can't remember. We did some trick with it. But it hit the head, as I know. That's what's gonna happen. this baby. What did we do? Wasn't like that, maybe? Oh, we got it. There goes Josh with his Uzi. I'll get some bolts up on this little guy, hold her up in place, and we'll put the cross member back in. Let's see, threw some bolts on the manifold pipe there. You know that feeling you get when you know you're gonna be sick? You feel it coming. I feel that today. I got the sweats going on. Don't have any strength, just feel all kind of jittery. And it's only Tuesday. It's only a Tuesday. How am I getting sick on like Friday? But I don't get any sick days, unfortunately. Well, I do, I just have to go to work on them days. I never get sick, man. If I get sick again, this will be the second time this year. And that's pretty odd for me. I very rarely get sick, like stomach bug or anything. Okay, that's good. We'll get the cross member on. Once I get the engine sitting where it needs to be, then I'll tighten up the manifold, the pipe. We'll get these O2 sensors plugged in. Dump some training. I just don't have a good feeling about this. I don't have a good feeling I put in the first one. I hate remanufactured stuff. Well, cheaper. I like Jasper stuff, but you know, I mean, it's twice the cost of one of these, you know, these rebuilds here, and it comes with the same exact warranty. That's a hard sell to make to a customer unless, you know, you can convince them that, you know, you're not going to have to change it 50 times. But some of these remanufacturing facilities are just garbage, and you know, the Moveris transmissions, I'll never use one of those. You know, you can change them things like oil filters. Just keep, you know, it takes you 5 or 6. You might get a good one, but I've had better luck with used stuff than I have remanufactured stuff. It's sad to say that, but you know, especially when these things are supposed to be, you know, dyno tested and blah blah blah. But they want to keep footing the bill, whatever, or at least some of the bill. But that gets kind of old, kind of quick. Oh, but I make a mistake because I thought we were supposed to leave the exhaust off. I thought we put this cross member in or loose. We just got to leave it loose. That's the thing, right? Is that the right way? Looks like the right way. So stick a bolt in here just to kind of hold it for us. Come on. Get that to hold it, and then the long ones go on the left. I'm gonna train you a little too far. Get that up. We'll see. There's that one. The other one. Which one's the long one? Alright, here's the short one. Nothing, but that's nothing new. Here's that one. Be nice to it. Treat like a lady. Alright, well, we'll zippy zap all the bolts on them. Fine, there we go. Oops. Wrong ones. Put the right ones here. We'll grab our 21. This thing plowed on there. The transmission mount bolted back on. 15. It should be up inside here somewhere. There's that. Our wires get some of these re-zip tied. Some of them that had broken clips, I put zip ties with the little ear on. So we'll get those poked back in, get our O2 sensors plugged in. I think we're all right. Rust, nothing to worry about. There's that. The last thing you're going to want to do is make sure you hook up your shift linkage here. Put the transmission in park. I'm going to have to use a little pair of pliers, give that a squeeze. That'll lock on. And that's it. The other thing you want to do when you're all done, a little brake cleaner. Give her a bath underneath, get rid of all the old training fluid that spewed out or the stuff that's leaking out of the new transmission that may have, gotten on it during shipping. That way there, when you start it up, we know if there's any leaks, it's new leaks, not old leaks. So, I'm not in the mood for this today. The pisser about this whole thing is, even though, the transmission lasted one day, so it lasts one day, 30 miles. Woo-hoo. They'll give you a new transmission. They only pay $50 an hour, and they only pay book time, which is fine because we beat the book time, no big deal. The transmission fittings they won't pay for, fluid they don't pay for, stuff they don't pay for. They don't pay for anything extra there, and unfortunately, I don't know. I guess if I came into a shop and I paid $2,400, whatever this transmission costs installed, that lasted one day, I'd be pissed if I had to buy my fluid again and more fittings and this and that. So, actually in this case, I absorbed that cost for the customer, but it just sucks. I don't want to have to keep doing this. So hopefully this one works and you just forget about it and move on. But you can see kind of some of the frustrations, or that's how it is. But that's how it's written in their policy too. It's not like I was unaware of this. This was a big surprise. I knew they only paid $50 an hour in the event of a warranty case. I knew they didn't pay fluids. Nobody pays for fluids. They don't pay for anything extra or any other damages. If this thing nuked our radiator and we packed this thing right full of metal, guess what? This guy's got to buy another radiator. Now he's got to buy more of this, more of that, and it's just really frustrating. And it's really hard to tell a customer, because they always think, every shop you go to is shady. Evidently, I'm not being shady. That's just how it is. Whether you're laying on your back doing this in your driveway, you know, it's the same scenario. I mean, you might be able to go to Advance Auto and flip out and, you know, get a free case of fluid or something, but, you know, that's kind of small in the big picture of the thing, you know. Let's take the old Dextron 6. I mean, I never know if they pull the converter and they dump that out too. You know, their trainings are supposed to be live run and tested and all that stuff, so I don't know how much fluid they leave in them. So not a big deal, you know, taking fluid out if we have to. We'll just use the fluid extractor. Hook the battery up. I got 6 quarts in it. We'll leave it at that for right now. We'll see what happens here. Seems like it has some gears. It's not peeing all over the floor. Looks like we're at the bottom of the stick, so we'll start adding some more fluid here. Let's get her up to the cold mark. Double check it for leaks and take it for a little toot down the road, see if it works. Well, looks like we got all the gears. No load anyways. Got about 8 quarts of transmission fluid in it. That puts us right between the top of the hot and the top of the cold and bottom of the hot, so we'll leave it at that for right now. Look underneath and take it for a ride. Let's see how she looks underneath here. Well, that rear seal is nice and dry. That's good. See if we can see our training lines. Yeah, they look like they sealed up good. Nice and dry. Really not much to leak over on this side other than that pressure test port, which looks pretty good to me. I did double check to make sure that was tight. This thing looks like it's all slimy now. We hosed it off brake clean and the paint they put on it is just coming right off too, so. Well, I say everything looks good. I don't think we forgot anything. Great. So So I went and pulled it outside, just grabbed our Autel real quick. I'm gonna clear the transmission adaptive memory. And we'll take it for a ride here, so make sure we don't have any codes, or hopefully we don't have any codes. See how it works. The other thing we want to do when we're sitting here is we want to look at our transmission range switch here, so we can see the value on that. Obviously we're in park, and we'll do reverse, neutral, drive, and then we got 3, 2, 1. So make sure that we have proper adjustment on that. Other than that, I guess that's it. Missed pulling out of the shop there. Whoa, ABS, hang on. That's lovely. I hate these Chevy trucks, man. You can never stop with damn things. Well, so far, so good. Of course, the last one made it 30 miles, too. Snow is almost all melted. And there's the ABS. At least we didn't slide out in front of that Chevy Avoca and get swatted. And then just puke its guts right there, so it's probably good. Feels like we got all the gears. That's overdrive, 1500 RPMs. Chevy Thunder. Take a turn around here. Seems to work pretty well. Whoa, easy! Oh yeah. Definitely better than the old one. I guess we don't know that until we check to see if we have reverse. Pull over here real quick. Yes, let's see what we're running temperature wise here. We got 105 it says, so she's barely warming up. Alright. Let's see. We got reverse, I guess. Yep. Feels like we got reverse. All 4 forward gears, can't ask for anything better. Go back, check the fluid, and move on with life. Alright guys, that's it. I brought it back in, threw it on the lift, took another spin underneath it to make sure it's dry, and it is. So it works, it shifts, it seems to hold up under a load. I just go out and give it the beans, you know. I mean, if it's gonna break, it's gonna break. So you might better find out now instead of, a week from now. But yeah, it seems to work. I did some town driving with it. Shifts, takes off good, downshifts nice, nothing, no harsh engagements or exchanges between gears. This is the company, this ETE Reman out of Wisconsin. Will I use them again? I don't know. I really like Jasper stuff. I never have a problem with Jasper products. But, you know, then again, it's up to the customer. You know, these guys offer a 3-year 75 parts and labor warranty, you know, and it's substantially less money than a Jasper. But, you know, usually I put in a Jasper, you just fill up fluid, park it outside, you know, it's gonna be good. I mean, not to, you know, toot their horn any, but I used to be a preferred installer when I was at my dad's shop, and, you know, I did a ton of Jasper units, trainees, rear ends, transfer cases, you know, it kind of like dumbed you down because you just didn't rebuild anything anymore. You know, you just get a Jasper engine or Jasper trainee or transfer case, but, you know, I don't know, times have changed, things change, you know, they're expensive, you know. Cases like automatics, if I opt for a reman, I don't do them in-house simply because, you know, I don't want to have to eat, you know, a whole warranty to remove and replace plus, you know, the rebuild or whatever goes wrong. I've got no way to remanufacture torque converters or dyno test them or anything like that. So that's why we do those. You know, manual transmissions I'll rebuild in-house because, you know, they're easy enough to bench test, so to speak. You know, you can see, check your gear lashes and everything, and I'm not that fluent on automatic transmissions. Most shops that are, you know, that's what they specialize in. It's kind of a specialty shop item, I guess, if you will. There are some guys who are, you know, multi-talented all the way across the board. They can rebuild engines, transmissions, you know, automatics, you know, all of them. And there's, you know, there's such a variety of automatics. You almost have to, you know, have your central focus on that to stay up to date, you know, with service bulletins and updated parts and tips and tricks and, you know, everything that's associated with them. So that's that. I guess I'm done with this. This guy should be happy. Let's cross our fingers this thing lasts more than the 30 miles it lasted originally, and he can enjoy it a little bit more. But no codes, no leaks, no problems. Got to submit my labor claim now and hopefully get paid on that and take it from there. So check us out on Facebook, Google+. If you haven't done that, subscribe to our channel. And just remember, viewers, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching.